Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and welcome back to the Campfire Series podcast. I'm your host, Logan Soforenko. What better way to celebrate Thanksgiving than with an interview with the Radio City Rockette? She has been in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade one time in 2017. Let's welcome Ellen Mihalick to the Campfire Series podcast.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Ellen Mihalick. I am living in New York City right now. I'm 25 years old. I have been fortunate enough to be dancing professionally since high school. I grew up training in New Jersey. I danced at New Jersey Ballet and New Jersey Dance Theater Ensemble. And then right out of high school, I got my dream job. I started with the Radio City Rockettes, and I have been dancing and kicking with them since. Because it is a seasonal job, I do a lot of stuff on the off season. I do a lot in the ballet world. And most recently, I was on the national tour of the Broadway show An American in Paris before quarantine and all of this happened.
That's too bad. I feel that American in Paris was supposed to come to Thousand Oaks, but I feel like that was canceled, obviously, because of what's happening right now.
Yeah, I love that show, though. We started in December and it was supposed to run through June. And like you said, yes, we were about to go to California. We were going to drive down the coast, all of that. But it was a beautiful show. I got to put all of my loves together. I was in point shoes, character shoes, singing, tapping, a little bit of everything. I was traveling. So it's honestly one of my favorite shows. I had always wanted to go on a national tour. And we were in Florida when back in March. It literally happened like overnight. I'll never forget. We were at intermission during a show, and we got a text about a company meeting right after the show. And they just said a couple of theaters have pulled out. Corona's happening, all of that, but we're going to stay out. And the next morning, we got a text that we were going to have a 2-week layoff where we would all be back in New York. And that day, it was a travel day. We had a quick, 2-hour bus ride in the morning, and we were in Florida, and the entire cast and crew went to the beach. We had brunch. We were on the beach. It was just such a joyful day. Literally, everyone was there just having such a good day off. We haven't had a day off in so long. And we were all in the ocean, and then we slowly start coming out, and we're checking our phones, just see we're leaving at 6 a.m. We're driving home tomorrow. So we took 2 days to drive up the coast, and yeah, but hopefully, fingers crossed, when everything gets back up and running, they'll do that show again. It's such a beautiful classic Gershwin musical. So absolutely, it was a dream of mine to be in that.
I think that answers my next question as to once COVID is over, when that will be, we don't know, but when it is, if you're going back out on any productions. But it looks like if the tour launches back up, you'll be hopping back on tour.
I'd love to do that. Yeah. I do a lot of ballet. I dance with the American Swiss Ballet Company. We were supposed to be touring and Nutcrackers, and so much is up in the air. I know everyone's worlds have been totally turned upside down lately. So I'm fortunate enough to be healthy and in New York and teaching and dancing, but it's not like we work and all we want to do is be on stage and share what we love. My job doesn't feel like work. It makes me so happy, and I work to share and spread that joy and perform and communicate through movement and performance. So I am just itching for the theater world to come back. I know so many of us are. The vibe and the energy here in the city is just missing such a crucial part of it. So I know safely in time, when all of that comes back, we will all be ready to go, stronger than ever, and to just give some joy and performance back to life.
That's the beauty of this awesome community. But you mentioned a little bit earlier, kind of going back, you got the Rockettes gig right out of high school. Not only does that sound rare, but it sounds pretty awesome. Walk me through how that happened, because I know that, let's just say, you can obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but a 6'7" dancer trying to be in the Rockettes might be a little challenging. So walk me through how you got involved with the Rockettes at such a young age, and also we'll talk about this later, but the advice you can give to future dancers that are dreaming to be at Radio City and to represent the Rockettes.
So I've been dancing since I was walking. My older sister was a dancer. We were always a dance family. I kind of followed in her footsteps. She always inspired me. And going through high school, I danced at a competition school called the Art of Dance in Chester, New Jersey, and then focused in on ballet. I was part of the Rockette Summer Intensive for 3 years before I was old enough to audition to be a Rockette. To be a Rockette, you have to be at least 18 years old, and you have to be 5'6" to 5'10" and a half. So before I was 18, I participated in the Rockette Summer Intensive for 3 years, which I can highly testify is an amazing program. It's one of the only places you can get the Rockette precision technique anywhere, really. So yeah, I was all set to go to college. I had applied to 4 dance schools here in New York. I was going to go to Fordham here in Lincoln Center for my BFA in dance. And actually, I truly believe everything happens for a reason. I auditioned for Juilliard and I got waitlisted. They take 12 girls. I was number 13, and that was my dream school. And that didn't happen. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so then I decided on Fordham, and I put my deposit down. And literally the next day, I got my call from Radio City. And like any high school, I was out with friends. I was at the movies, and I see a 212 number call. I know you're not supposed to be on your phones in the movies, but I see a 212 number calling, and I let it go to voicemail, and I like sneak and listen to it. And I just start crying listening to this voicemail, and I grabbed my friends and I ran out of the theater, and they followed, and they were like, what happened? Like, who passed away? Are you okay? And I was like, no, like, I'm gonna be a Radio City Rockette. And I turned 18 in July, so I like just made it. My first season, I went to Nashville. This was when Radio City had the shows on the road. And I love country music. It was such a great environment. Actually, half of the whole line was new Rockette. So it was awesome to be a part of that. And then, so that was my 2013 Christmas in Nashville with the Rockettes. And then in 2014, I got switched to the New York cast and have been here since.
What's the difference? Obviously, being in the hometown of Radio City in New York, there's obviously that difference.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the difference, obviously, when you did it as a first timer, as a rookie out in Nashville, and then all of a sudden going up to I wouldn't say the big stage, because I'm pretty sure being a Rockette in Nashville is a big stage, but going to the traditional Radio City.
Right. So the audition process is the exact same, whether you're on the road or this was back when we had the road shows. The audition process is the same. The show is the same. Some girls choose to go on tour. Some girls don't. But I just couldn't believe I was a Radio City Rockette. I was like, I will live out my dream job anywhere. So yeah, I wouldn't really necessarily say it's rankings. Right now we are only in New York. But I grew up in New Jersey. So every year since I was 4, I actually have a picture of my 4-year-old little self standing outside the marquee at Radio City. And I just knew like this was such an inspiring show that I got to see every year. And it's a holiday legacy that's been going on since 1933 of the strongest, most talented group of women I can think of. And to just bring so much joy to the world during Christmas with this tradition, it's just something I have known I always, always, always wanted to do. So now I actually have the picture of my 4-year-old self next to myself in costume outside the marquee. And it's super special because my family and friends are so close to New York. So I'm super lucky that they can come in just a train ride or a quick car ride. And be able to support me. I did have a lot of friends and family actually traveled to Nashville, but it's not the same as being New York, New Jersey. My mom, my first season, she has a super fan pin because she saw almost like 50 shows. My sister was my opening night date to our big opening gala. So it's just really special to be close to home and so many friends and family making the trip in to see it. A lot of girls leave their families for the holidays and are a flight away, and our schedule is crazy. We rehearse 6 days a week, 6 hours a day. And then when we go into tech, it's about so the rehearsal process is about a month. And then when we're in tech, it's like 12-hour days. And then when we open, you can do anywhere from 1 to 4 shows a day. So we are literally at Radio City more than we are anywhere else. So it's our Radio City family. Those girls are my closest friends. They're so supportive, and you go through so much with them. So it's really special. It's like our home for the holidays. And I just have an extra bonus because I'm close to my real family too.
1 to 4 shows a day. That's insane. And people talk about 2 show days being much. 4 shows. That's ridiculous. But I'm sure you probably enjoy it, even though it's intense work. But you said it. In order to be a Rockette, you're representing the best women dancers. Now, I would say, I don't know if you said in the world or in the country, but the best dancers. And I think that's pretty awesome. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You have to re-audition every season, right?
Yes, we do. You have to earn your spot back stronger. So they see about 500 Rockettes, hopefuls, Rockette hopefuls, and there's 80 ladies. There's 2 casts, and each cast has 36 on stage with 4 swings, and then times 2 gives you the 80 Rockettes. And it's crazy because it's such a mixed group of women, and it's so special because we all have our own unique backgrounds. We all do our own thing in the off season. We have everyone that just is a mom in the off season with their family. We have bankers, accountants. I am in the ballet world in my point shoes in the off season. And we come together and we are all just so precise and making this like dream happen on stage and coming together for this one particular reason. So it's super special. And even though you're doing 4 shows a day, I like that the first scene is reindeer, where our stage is 3 elevators actually. And we start down in the basement and we just rise up, and there's fog and you hear the audience cheering. And it is just looking out to the 6,000 seats at Radio City is nothing can top that view for me. And I get chills and I want to cry. And even if you're like, my feet are killing me and this is like my 12th show this week and I am so tired. And then the second like the overture starts playing and that elevator goes up, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is real life. This is my job. This is a dream come true. And you get through it with your friends, those 4 shows in between shows. Sometimes you're gonna need to nap. We always have like a full meal. We play games. We have like jam sessions. We sing. We're like kind of so goofy, but like just such ordinary people that those breaks in between shows, we're like, all right, let's play a board game. Let's play a relay race. Or our dance captain will set something up just like totally to like lighten the mood and remind us like we have the best job in the world. And I can say that for any job I've done as a dancer because I get to do what I love for a living. So that's super special to say. Doesn't feel like work any of my dance jobs.
I think what people don't realize is when they come and see a show for the holidays, whether that be in the musical theater or a straight play or the Radio Rock City Rockettes, that's a luxury. But also when it comes to the performers, that's their job and they're not with their family. So that's the sacrifice that most audience members don't really take into consideration. And the more and more I talk to these performers, I say thank you for that, because I've seen many shows in the holidays. So I want to thank you for the sacrifices you make in the holidays, even though it's obviously fun, but it is during, the heart of Thanksgivings when it kicks off and through Christmas and all that stuff. But with that being said, I want to hear a little bit about Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and the spirit of Thanksgiving. Walk me through some memories, how many times you've done it. They're planning on doing something this Thanksgiving. I'm not sure, but
Shows and Rockettes have stuff in the works, so that'll be very exciting to have that tradition, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I got to perform in the parade in 2017. And we wore one of my favorite costumes. It's our little candy cane striped. We usually wear it for 12 days, which is our tap number. But it's just such a classic Rockette outfit. And so you have your street rehearsal where you can bundle up and you have your rehearsal. It's usually pretty late at night or kind of off hours since we are performing right in front of Macy's. And then the day of, we have a very early call to go to the music hall, get ready. They bus us down to Macy's. And the year I did it, it was freezing, as it is a lot of years. But you get outside during that commercial break right before you're going, and you're in your bevel and your arms are in a high V and you're frozen, but you're like, oh my gosh, the entire world is watching. And I normally watch the parade, and I knew I wanted to be a Broadway performer and Rockette and all of that. And it is the adrenaline. That is one of my most favorite performances ever, because it is another iconic moment. And some people that can't come to New York, do know the Rockettes just from the parade. And they kick off the holiday season every year. And just to be out there on 34th Street in front of Macy's is just such an iconic moment. And then the year I did the parade, I actually didn't shows that day because you do get one day off, which is very rare, because we always have PR, we always have events. Like I ended up doing the parade on my day off, but I did take the train home to New Jersey where my family had all gathered and they were watching it. And meanwhile, I had like just danced in the parade, and then I'm like fighting the crowds to like run to Penn Station like a totally normal person. And I was like, oh my God, like millions of people just watched this. And then of course I get home and they had recorded it and I was crying. And that's definitely one of the highlights of being a Rockette is the Macy's parade. So very excited to see how it all comes together this Thanksgiving. Very grateful to have been a part of it once and hopefully again in the future, and just focusing on what we can be grateful for even through these crazy times right now.
You said it kicks off the holiday season literally with the kick line. But yeah, absolutely, to really be grateful and thankful for everything that we've had. Even though in these hard times, there's always something, and it makes you. This was supposed to be the year where everything was supposed to go our way, but then all of a sudden, it's the year where you're more appreciative for the little things. I think that's
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
with that being said, I hate to say this, I haven't been to a dance show probably since I was 10. So but with that, walk me through how different this is, just for me personally, how different a dance show is compared to a Broadway musical. I know there's intermissions, and I want to ask you a nerd question. Have you ever done a ballet or a dance to Trey Pack?
Pack is a nutcracker.
Okay.
So yes, I've been doing Nutcracker my entire life. So
Good.
that is the story of Clara, and it's all ballet. So it's all instrumental music, lots of characters. There is an intermission, but that is like a ballet classic. So I'm in my point shoes, where you're standing on your toes, such very much in the ballet world, but another holiday iconic show. And actually in Radio City, the ensemble does a little super quick version of the Nutcracker, which is really cool. But in both Rockettes and American in Paris, I had the point shoe aspect of it too in the ballet world. And I actually had a mic on. I was the singer in there too in the ensemble. But both those shows have a little bit of everything. They have tap, where our shoes are actually, they have microphones on them. So it's all live tapping, jazz, there's the storyline through, there's the ensemble. In Radio City, we even have Santa, we have our live animals. And in both of those shows, there is an intermission, yes.
So there's obviously a story in every show that you do. How obviously relevant is that to you knowing how to, obviously not how to dance, but when you're dancing, telling that story and knowing the background of what exactly you're putting on every show?
Totally. So if the audience isn't going to notice every technical aspect of the show. They're not going to know if my foot is pointed or if I did 4 turns instead of 3 turns. Obviously, like my director will know. I'll get notes from my dance captains, all of that. And I personally will pay attention to all those like technical aspects, especially more in the ballet world. But what's most important in any production with a storyline is that you become the character, that you convey that story, because that's that's what's going to read to the audience. They don't know those technical aspects of it. So you can become a character and you have to put yourself in that place every night. For me, I was lucky because Radio City is such a joyful show. It's all happiness. It's so exciting. So it's a easier place as a performer to get to because of the adrenaline, and just it's similar to the same rush you feel. It's not necessarily a deep, heavy, dark show where performers have to put themselves in that character every night, 8 shows a week or however many they do on Broadway. But at the end of the day, obviously I'm going to get notes. In Rockette Land, we have like our number line, we have tape lines, we have every single count has a mark, has a move, has a detail down to like my pinky, where our dance captain will know and we'll get notes. And that's what makes the show so spectacular, is all those details. But at the end of the day, the audience doesn't know if I'm a hair of a centimeter off. So what's most important is that no matter what the show goes on and no matter what you convey, the story and the emotions and that aspect of it, because that's what the audience is going to remember. Same thing with An American in Paris. It's the storyline. It's a beautiful love story. And just talking about the joy of art and what dance and art and painting and everything can do for people. So that story is what's most important. Obviously, our perfectionist Rockette dancer brain cares about all the other things, but at the end of the day, the audience is there for the ride of the emotion and the story.
It's there for the audience, but I totally get that. Now, let's just play a fun little game.
Okay.
Pandemic is not here. It didn't exist. Didn't shut everything down. Corona, maybe it didn't exist, or it was stopped coming into the U.S. We have normal entertainment. You're in American in Paris. What would have this season looked like with the music, with American in Paris and the Rockettes? Or was the tour supposed to end before? What was that all about?
Yeah, so American in Paris, we were supposed to go through June, and we were actually coming up the East Coast like the next week. So that's when all my friends and family were gonna make it to the show. But in a perfect world, I had planned out that I finished out the tour through June. That was with Big League Productions, and I would absolutely, hopefully one day, go back on tour with them. And in the summer, I actually am the director of a summer sleepaway dance camp called the American Dance Training Camp. So after tour, I was like, I'm gonna go do my camps for a few weeks. And as soon as that ends, roll into Radio City. And today probably would have had anywhere from 1 to 4 shows. So in an ideal world, that's what it would be. However, we are just trying to make the most of it now and do all we can to stay in shape and little ways to keep art alive right now.
And obviously to be thankful and remember to give yourself some self-love. I see the Rockette pillow in the back. You have to,
No,
you
I
know,
already have all my Christmas decorations out, plus like my Marley floor and my yoga mat and my home gym and everything you need. But yeah, I think this time has really taught us to step back and be grateful for the little things and self-love. And I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was like, I was worried. I was like, what am I going to create? What am I going to do? I need to come up with the next best thing. And I'm the kind of person that I like to leave my house super early. I teach bar classes. I teach fitness 6, 7, 8 a.m., go to my rehearsal, after audition, and the 1 million things that I do in a day because I just love to stay busy. I love to stay productive. And obviously I had to sit during this time and just be with your own thoughts and everything going on. So it really taught you to appreciate the small things and take time for yourself and know that we will come back stronger. I have always, always, always believed that hard work pays off. And when it gets tough, the tough keep going, and New York is not dead, and we will come back, and we are here and we are working hard. And no matter what, you have to keep that bigger picture in mind. And I can speak on behalf, I'm sure, of a lot of dancers that we miss it more than anything. However, whenever it is ready for us, I'm ready to come back even stronger and back to the work and the grind. And that is what we love. And I love that aspect of it. And to not be able to do what I love for a living has been really hard. Quarantine for everyone has totally had ups and downs, good days, bad days. But you gotta stay strong. You gotta do what you can. I was like doing all my ballet bars, all my home workouts, even if I didn't want to. I was like, no, I have to. It'll make coming back that much easier. It's just like those days on the bus back on tour where like you would have a 9-hour bus ride right to the theater and you like it's hard. Traveling and dancing is really hard, and you have to really listen to your body and know what you need to do to be safe and smart before a show, fresh off a bus, or in quarantine, safe and smart, working out at your house, and just to really listen to your body. I get often caught up in a routine of like, I have to do X, Y, and Z before a show, but sometimes my body's a little different. Sometimes I need more of a yoga stretch, not like an intense bar, or food wise, what you need to eat. So I think just being really in tune and balance is important, especially with all this free time. We have learned to balance our lives in many ways, more so. So lots and lots of lessons to have come from quarantine.
and with that, there's obviously going to be a time where the audition process is going to be back for, dance companies and productions and all that stuff. What's some advice you can give to, future, I think you called them, was it future Rockettes or Dreamers, or what was it? What?
Yeah, future rockets. I would say hard work pays off, even if it doesn't make sense in the meantime or you don't understand why. I think everything happens for a reason, and we may never understand that reason. But I know any dance teacher that has ever told me no, or any audition that has not told me no, has just made me want to fight and work harder and be better. So I would say no matter what the front of the room tells you, sometimes, well, always, you can't take it personally. If you are putting in all the work that you can, if you are just being kind and just sharing what you love, I think that'll really pay off. And it's not personal. Sometimes it is. You have to fit a height, you have to fit a costume, maybe like in terms of the other casting that they have. There's so many factors that go into it. But I just think if you are a kind, humble person and you just work hard, I am I keep my mouth shut and I do my job, and I do my job well. And I think that's super, super important, because there are so many things to be caught up in this world, be it social media, be it the 500 people you're going to be at an audition with, whatever it may be, whatever distractions and hardships come your way, to just stay focused. I have my goals weekly, monthly, career, life, all of that, and just keep that in mind, because hard work will pay off. And I truly think that anything is possible. I grew up like a bunhead in my point shoes every day, and I still am, but now I'm in voice lessons, and now I do hip hop gigs and jazz gigs and theater gigs, and like I just want to be on Broadway and continue with Rockettes and touring. Like, there's no limits. And I think a lot of people are like, I am this kind of dancer, I am musical theater, or this and that. But as I've seen in my shows, all my worlds have come together, and there are endless possibilities. And I would say, especially now, take any opportunity you can. You'll learn something from it, and you'll gain some artistic growth from it. And I just think possibilities are absolutely endless, but you just have to be ready and willing to go for the ride and give it your all, because you'll always come out stronger and better at the other end. But yes, hard work pays off, and dream big, because you never know. Anything is absolutely possible.
I think that couldn't have been said any better. But when it comes to just the future, are you planning on heading back, keep auditioning for the Rockettes and being with the season? Or let's just say you get cast in a Broadway show and you have to be there 8 times a week, so, or eight
Yeah.
shows a week, because there's not 8 days in a week. But uh,
What day
what could,
is it now, anyways, though? Who knows?
gosh, exactly. But what is the future looking like?
Yeah, so I always knew Rockettes was something I wanted to do. A tour was something I always wanted to do. A contemporary ballet company, which I've worked with. We've toured in Europe, we've toured nationally, and there's some other ones that I definitely want to dance for, and on Broadway. So I need to achieve all of those goals. I am so grateful for every single opportunity, and it's hard because all of those have such equal value in my head. They're all just phenomenal. They all just make me on cloud nine, and it's huge dreams of mine. So I think if a Broadway contract came up, just like this past year, I turned down Radio City to go on tour with An American in Paris, and it was just a new adventure and something that I have always wanted to do. And Rockettes, like I said, since I was 4 years old, it was, and it still is, such a dream of mine that I know I will be kicking again. I'm one of the short girls on the ends, but I know I will be back up there one day, as I know I will achieve these other things that I want to do. So whatever the timing may be, however the universe wants to lay it out for me, I want to achieve it all. There's so much that I want to do, but I do see myself back at Radio City. But I also, if a Broadway contract came up, yes, absolutely.
Well, good for you. I'm looking forward to see where the journey takes you, because I always like hearing what's gonna happen after the pandemic, because it just makes that day when, like, where everyone's vaccinated and this everything's back to normal, which will be a while, but it just makes that day so much more special.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, hopefully this, you mentioned your Christmas decorations. Once I wrap up this finals week, I'm rolling out the tree in my room, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be a good time and a good safe holiday season. But with that being said, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and chatting with me in a field that I'm not familiar with whatsoever. And that is the life of a dancer and the journey of a Rockette.
Yes. Well, I hope one day very soon, like you said, safely, and when the time is right, we are back thriving and taking any experience and opportunity that may come our way in all of the world. So I hope I can share that with you on stage one day.
Absolutely, hopefully you'll be. I want to see the Rockette show, but hopefully you'll be in it when I come and see it, whenever that may be. But with that being said,
Yes.
you have a great rest of your day, and I'll let you know. This is the Thanksgiving episode, so it'll be dropping on Thanksgiving, and
Amazing. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. So much to be grateful for.
oh, absolutely, absolutely, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. But you stay safe and enjoy the holiday season.
Awesome. You as well, Logan. Thank you so much.
It was nice meeting you and nice chatting with you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me on here.
Absolutely.